This is our 3D printed name tag tutorial. We're using TinkerCAD.com to build our 3D designs. It's pretty simple. It's kind of designed for introductory people to learn how to design in three-dimensional space. So I've already loaded projects for this, and we're going to just go ahead and click the Create button, and we're going to choose 3D Design. The one thing about TinkerCAD is it does give everything a pretty random name. It is very helpful to go ahead and rename those at the beginning just so you know what you're getting into. Right now mine's Fabulous Happy Boro. So we're going to go ahead and click up here where the name is, and for my purpose we're just going to call this name tag. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but just remember that it is easier to keep track of them if you name things correctly. So there's a few things to the TinkerCAD workplane that make movement in 3D environments a lot easier. One is we have what's called a view cube, and you can actually click and hold down on this to drag your workplane around so you can see the different sides of it. It is very three-dimensional from the fact you can see top, sides, bottom. You can zoom in and kind of see inside of some things. If you get it messed up and can't quite get it back to where we started from, it does have a home view button, so you can get back to that by clicking on the house. And then we also have a fit all in view. We don't use this very often because we can zoom in, but you can zoom in using the plus and the minus. You can zoom back out as well. Zooming can also be done by using two fingers in a scrolling motion. So if you put two fingers on your touchpad of a Chromebook or a MacBook and roll in toward the screen, you can zoom in. If you had a mouse, you can also use the wheel on top of the mouse. And then backwards again, two fingers scrolling out on a MacBook or Chromebook. And if you had a mouse, you can pull that wheel backwards as well. There is the orthographic view. You can click that and it just essentially shows us a top view. For what we're doing today, we don't want to do that. So two controls that it does not show is one, you can rotate without having to use the view cube. It's a little more confusing, but you can come out and use your mouse and two-finger click and hold down, and you can actually move your workplane around just like that by doing that. So, and the other one, which is very complicated, we don't use it much, but it's a shift two-finger click, and there are times when you need to center your view a little differently, and so you can actually hold down shift, click with two fingers and drag, and it lets us slide the workplane around. So if you're working with the end of a piece or just a certain angle of it and you can't get it lined up right, you can use those to help you do that again. So again, plus and the minus to zoom in, or use your two fingers on a Chromebook or MacBook to push in, push out, two-finger click to rotate the workplane, and then shift two-finger click to slide this around. So some of the other things that are beneficial, again, if you get messed up, hit the home view button. That resets everything back to where we started from. And then a lot of our keyboard shortcuts are already up at the top, from copy to paste, duplicate, delete, undo, redo. Grouping we will use quite a bit, and ungrouping we will as well. You can line things up to make sure they're perfect. You can flip them. Those take care of most of those at the top. Our libraries over here at the right side. The workplane, you can actually lift or shift it, which is kind of cool. And then the ruler actually lets you measure to make sure things are correct how you need them to be. So our libraries over here, right now we're on basic shapes. You might be wondering why there are different shapes, why there's two boxes and two cylinders. We'll get to that here in just a little bit. The one thing that is super helpful, again, two-finger scrolling on a Chromebook or MacBook, or using your wheel on a mouse. You can scroll up and down through the library. There are more than just the shapes you can see right here, and then you can scroll back up as well. So you can change libraries by clicking up here, and then you get everything from text to symbols to connectors. Shape generators are pretty cool. There's a lot of those. They have been created by TinkerCAD and other people. You can modify things. For example, there's States of Nebraska, there's fidget spinners. There's all sorts of stuff in here that you can use to make your design a little more your own. So, and you can favorite things and you can make your own as well. By default, our grid is set at 1 millimeter intervals. So as we move things around, they jump a millimeter at a time. You can click down here to change that. You can go up to where it's off and you get full control, or you can jump it up to 5 millimeters if you're trying to build something else too. That kind of just depends on where you want to be. We generally leave it at 1 millimeter unless we're getting very, very precise here. So again, this is your workplane. You can, again, zoom in and out. Always remember that your home view is there. If you make a mistake, the first thing you should go up and do is hit undo. That usually fixes most of the problems that we have.